In this video, I'm going to be going over the brutal mistakes that I made during year 13 and in my A levels in general, so you can avoid them when you're doing your A levels, and also how you can get the top grades by avoiding what I did. I apologize in advance if I come off as spiteful or angry in this video. The reason I'm so passionate about what I'm talking about is this is actually genuinely some mistakes that I made during my A levels. So I really don't want you to. I have no benefit in this right now. I don't really care about the grade boundaries going off or whatever. So I will literally tell you exactly what I did wrong, and also tell you how you can get better from that in this video. I know when I was starting off, let me go on a little side tangent here. But when I was in year 11, at the end of summer, I wanted to get ahead of the crowd and know what to look out for during year 12 and 13 during my A levels to get the best grade, because I actually wanted good grades. So I went online, I went on YouTube, I typed up mistakes made in A levels or mistakes made in year 13 on the search bar. I clicked on the first video, I watched it, and genuinely it was so trash, it was so bad. I watched a couple more and they were all the same. Everyone puts out the same grudge, everyone says exactly the same thing. When you have this kind of video, people always say, I wish I had revised more during my year 13 years. Yeah, no shit. Of course, everyone's gonna say, I wish I revised more. I used to see people I think there was a channel named Amy something, no shade to her, of course, she has her own YouTube channel, but it was just frustrating from my point of view. But she would say stuff like, you should give yourself more breaks during your year 13 years. Again, this is absolutely unpractical grudge. What am I meant to do with the information? You should give yourself more breaks. Well, I shouldn't revise then. If two students took that advice and give yourself more breaks, how would that differentiate their grades? It just all of this advice that you see online on mistakes made on A levels, mistakes made with GCSE, they're all the same kind of everyone just puts out the same kind of video because it all just feels good. You've probably seen this if you've watched other revision videos online. You see the same comments under each video. Everyone says exactly the same thing. No one's giving actual advice. No one's actually no one's actually helping you. It was so annoying when I was doing my when I was researching this, because everyone just said exactly the same thing. Everyone was use your study periods wisely, give yourself more breaks, revise more. I wish I'd revise more. Talk to your teacher. No, people are giving this advice just because it feels good. And in this video, I'm going to change that. I'm going to go against the industry. I'm going to break the study YouTuber industry with this one video. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I wish I'd done during my A levels to get okay, I got predicted all A stars, but I probably won't get all A stars. And the reason are because of the stuff I did in this video, the mistakes that I made in this video, so you can avoid them. If you just follow this advice, I guarantee you will become one of the top students in the entire country. If you actually genuinely follow the advice in this video, you will become the top 0.01%. I'm not in there, but I know how to get there. Retrospect always looks better. You can see exactly where you went wrong, and this is the place I'm coming from. So number one is to work for 2 hours consistently throughout A levels. Don't work for longer, and don't work for shorter than 2 hours. I think 2 hours is the sweet spot, and specifically if you work 2 hours every single day during your A levels, it doesn't matter what grade you're on now. It doesn't matter if you're just entering year 13 now. If you do 2 hours of deep work, specifically deep work, I have a video on exactly what deep work is. It's a different type of work. But if you do 2 hours of deep work every single day, you will get probably get all A stars basically. If you do 2 hours of deep work in the morning before school, you're going to be in the top 0.01% of students, and you'll probably get all A stars, and you probably get all A stars. I know that's a massive claim. I know that the study industry is huge. I'm just saying, if you wake up early, if you wake up at somewhere around 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it depends how sustainable you want to make it, and you do 2 hours of deep concentrated work in the specific style that I'm going to tell you in this video, you will become better than most students in the UK. That is such a crazy statement to make, but let me just explain myself. I've been in this productivity space for quite some time now. I've been in this for years, and I've read a lot of books on studying, on working. My entire YouTube channel is built on productivity and a bit of fitness as well. So subscribe down below if you want more advice on productivity and fitness. When you work in the morning, when you do specifically deep work in the morning, your mind goes into a specific state. And it's really hard to explain the state. I'll link an article or whatever. But basically, it's easier for you to get into the flow state, which is like a state of deep concentrated work in the morning than after you come back from school and in the afternoon or in the evening. So if you come back from school and you do work in the evening, you should try this, right? So one day try get up early and do work before school, and the next day you try do work after school, like 2 hours after school. Tell me which one is better for you, because I guarantee you, if you're not sleep, like the one caveat in this is you have to go to sleep on time and get 8 hours, 7 minimum, but 8 hours of sleep consistently, because then you're not going to be tired in the morning. If you're tired in the morning, then everything just goes like, all of this is kind of useless. Like you're going to fall asleep whilst you do work. But if you get 7 hours, 8 hours, and you wake up at 4:30, like a crazy time, and do 2 hours of deep work, like the work I'm going to tell you to do in this video, which is practice papers, practice questions, or Anki, you will become like, if you just do that consistently, you'll get all A stars. That is it. That is all you have to do. And before I close off this point, the kind of person you are, you're probably thinking, yeah, if I could do 2 hours in the morning, and I could also do 2 hours in the evening, or I could do more in the evening, and you're like getting gassed up about that. Don't do that. Just do the 2 hours in the morning. Like I guarantee you, if I could just go back to my previous self, you're like, the state you're in right now, like you're kind of hyped up and you're kind of motivated and you want to do work. This state of motivation is going to go in the future, and the thing that's going to be left is just your routine. And no one, and I mean no one, can do more than 4 hours of deep work every single day. If you read the book Deep Work, even he says, like, there is no one in the world that can do 4 hours of deep work consistently every single day. So by this, like, everyone who does crazy amount of hours isn't doing it consistently. And that's why people, like, you hear stories of people doing insane amount of work they say stuff like, I revise 10 hours a day. But if you actually look at their schedule, they're not doing that every single day. But the thing with waking up in the morning and doing 2 hours before you go to school is that it's easy for you to build this into your routine if you go to sleep at a certain time and wake up. And also, 1 hour of deep work towards a goal in the morning is worth about 3 hours later on in the day. No one really talks about this, right? You have to be in the productivity space to really know about this. If you wake up and do 1 hour of deep work in the morning before you go to school, because basically, like, you have more brain fuel in the morning. I'm not going to go over what brain fuel is, but you have more mental capacity in the morning as soon as you get up. So 1 hour of like work is comparatively 3 hours later on. And if you do this every single day, if you do 2 hours every single day, that's like 6 hours a day every single day throughout your A levels. It's insane. If you were to take one thing from this video, it would just be wake up early, do 2 hours of work towards your exams, and spend just spend the rest of your day having fun. Like, just go through your A levels enjoying them. One more thing I wish I had done is just enjoyed my A levels. Like, A levels aren't supposed to be, like, they are supposed to be hard, but you may as well just enjoy them. Like, I see so many people. I went to a grammar school, right? I went to one of the best schools in the UK, and I saw so many people grinding through their A levels. They're like, no, I have to lock in. I'm not gonna be with my friends. I'm gonna quit the gym. I'm gonna break up with my girlfriend just to concentrate on A levels. And then they still get like beaten by a guy who just ran like 2 hours consistently and didn't do any of that stuff. So literally, if you wake up every day consistently and do 2 hours in the morning, you can just live life and you'll get better than everyone. So just if you were to take one thing from this video, just let it be wake up early and do 2 hours of deep work every single day before school. If you want to read more about this, read the book Deep Work by this guy named Cal Newport. Read a book named Discipline is Destiny by this guy named Ryan Holiday. And read, I think it's called The A Star or A Plus Student by also the same author, Cal Newport, because he really fleshes this out in more detail. But yeah, just wake up early, do 2 hours of work every single day before school. The second main point that I want to go over is meditate every single day. This is advice that you've probably never heard before, but I guarantee you this one thing will single-handedly, like this one tip, if you implement it, is better than any tuition, any revision course, any practice. I wouldn't say practice paper because those are important, but any sort of like revision advice you've gotten, meditation is probably better for you. The reason meditation is so powerful, and I just like, bro, if I could go back in time, I would just tell myself just to meditate for like 10 to 20 minutes consistently. Just literally on the way to school, I wish I'd just done that every single day, because meditation is literally the only way you have to reduce your mistakes. That's let me repeat that again. Meditation is the only way you can reduce your mistakes in exam papers or exams in general. Meditation is also the only way you can decrease your stress levels. Meditation is also like a way you can stay consistent with this. So if you want to get up every single day consistently, meditation is the only way that you can consistently do that. And let's dig into this, right? Why does meditation work on mistakes? And I'm specifically talking about the mistakes that you make, like random mistakes in exams, so like silly mistakes. I'm not talking about like learning mistakes or like knowledge mistakes, but like most people who go into the exams, they know the content. It's just like random things haven't done, right? So imagine you have a silly mistake, right? What happens when you make a mistake in the exam? You're writing down, like imagine you're doing integration. You're writing down your integration and you forget to add an X on the end. That makes a mistake, right? So you just randomly forget what happens. That's just like a normal thing that people do, right? If we look at that even closer, what happens on a micro level, sorry? What happens when you randomly forget the X, forget to add the X when you're integrating with respect to X? What happens? You lose focus. You're like in that moment that you've forgotten to add the X in when you're integrating. You've forgotten, like you've lost focus, and you've like even for a split second thought of something else. That is what meditation removes. Meditation trains you to stay focused on one thing. When you do meditation, my meditation is called Vipassana. It's basically, it's when you just concentrate on your breath. It's when you like, do it with me, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and just concentrate on your breath. So keep on doing that. Just focus on the feeling you get when like the air comes in your nose and then exits through your mouth. Now during that, you would have randomly thought of something else. You would have thought of like results day, or you would have thought that you would have thought about failing your driving test or something, or you would have had like a random thought that would have distracted you. When you catch yourself in thought, you have to bring your focus back on your breath in this meditation session. That in like meditation terms is one rep. In gym terms as well, it's like one bicep curl is that process of bringing your focus back. So if you meditate for 10 minutes, you're in that state for 10 minutes where you're just focusing on your breath. And every time you think of something else, you're bringing your focus back onto your breath. So over time, what happens is this skill just trains you to just be focused, hyper-focused on one thing. So that means when you're doing like questions or when you're doing your integration or calculus, you're much less likely to like randomly forget something. You're much less likely to miss something in the question. You're like, even you know when you're in a test and you start getting like stressed out, or you don't get in the flow. Meditation also solves that because you're hyper focused on the question. When you get distracted by the thought of like, my parents are going to deport me back to India if I fail my A levels, you can bring like you're so much better at bringing back your focus onto the calculus or onto the integration than if you were to take a student who didn't meditate. He would just indulge in that thought whilst he's doing the exam, and that will cause him to get distracted. So again, like you see, there are some people who just make a lot of silly mistakes. It's just because they're not good at like refocusing their mind back onto the thing, back onto like anything. They're not good at hyper focusing. But the people who make like zero silly mistakes, or like they seem to just be on it all the time, they probably just have like a natural inclination to do this easier. But meditation, again, is the only way you can train this hyper focus. So what practically does this mean, right? Meditation is part of your revision schedule. You should actually have like meditation as a thing to do. Treat it as importantly as homework, right? Basically, I would recommend waking up early, doing 2 hours of work, and then after that, doing about 10 to 20 minutes of meditation, and then you're done for the day. That's literally it. You don't do anything else. You spend the rest of the day just enjoying yourself, just like goofing around with friends, going out, like I don't know, going to the gym, do all of this stuff later on in the day. But like your main revision or your main work should be in the morning when you do 2 hours 2 hours of work, and then you do another 10 to 20 minute meditation session. Trust me, like if I was just, I keep on reiterating this, but like just trust me on this. Just meditate, like just do this form of meditation where I think I have a full guide on how to meditate as well on this channel. But if you just literally just meditate for 10 to 20 minutes every single day for the first 10, 15, 20 days, you're not going to notice anything. And then suddenly you're going to notice yourself just making less silly mistakes. In like when you're reading texts as well, if you're doing like an essay subject or just in general, when you read, you're going to notice that you just focus on the thing way more efficiently. Like meditation is so OP. It's the same as going to the gym for focus. It's insane how it works, and it's insane how powerful it is and how no one talks about it in this space. So literally just meditate for 10 to 20 minutes every single day. The third mistake that I made during my A-levels is revising too much. That sounds a bit crazy. I don't mean revising as in hours. I mean spreading out my focus in my revision. So let me tell you a little story. It's story time. But I was in year 12, I think, and I went over to one of my friend's house, and his mum was a tutor. So she said, I was asking her questions on how I get better at A-level maths, because I found it really hard at the time. It is pretty hard, to be fair. But she was saying, if I do some extracurricular stuff, so if I read, I think there was a book called, what was the book called? It was like something by Simon Sinek. Was it Simon Sinek? It was something about like Pascal's numbers or something, right? She was like, yes, if you read around the subject, you're going to be better at the subject. And I was like, I was just inspired by that. That was like a motivating speech she gave me. So I went home and I tried reading for a few days. I tried reading this book about maths and about numbers. And I did an end of topic test and I got like a D. So the moral of the story is pick 3 revision methods that you're going to do during these 2 hours in the morning and just stick to that. The ones I would recommend you doing is doing practice papers timed, doing practice questions not timed, and doing Anki flashcards. Like Anki flashcards, Anki is basically this app where you make flashcards for the subject. You should use this for every single subject, even if you're doing maths, further maths, physics. I did maths, further maths, and physics. But like literally any subject you do, you should have some kind of way of memorizing the information, and that should be done through Anki. I have a full guide on how to use Anki on this channel. But these 3 things should literally be the only things you do in the morning in your deep work session, in your like deep work block of 2 hours in the morning. Anything else is cope. Anything else is not counted as revision. This means that if you read a book about maths, it doesn't count as your revision. You're doing it in your own time, in your like fun time, outside of class, outside of this. Like I'm giving you, this is a bit weird, but I'm not giving you the permission to classify anything other than these 3 things as work towards your exams. Because the thing is, right, when you flip around revision methods, when you start doing like CGP textbook questions and then you switch over to a different exam board, the problem with this is if you switch over to different methods of revision, so like one day you read around the subject and then you do like a CGP textbook, or you read another textbook and then you go to physics online and you do his questions for some reason, you spread out your focus, which doesn't allow you to grow in the subject. It's really weird how this works. But literally, if you want to know more about this, read the book Essentialism by this guy named Greg McNow. Go read that book. But basically, if you focus your attention on literally 3 things to get you better in the subject, that is way better than doing 10 things to get you better at that subject. It's the same as like, if you chase 2 rabbits at once, you're going to catch none of them. It's the same concept. Just focus on like the essential things you need to do for getting better at the subject. And once you focus on that, and like you focus on that in your deep work sessions in the morning, you will become the ultimate student. Just like, I wish people just like listen to me. Like I guarantee you, I'm going to say this and then someone in the comment section is going to be like, but this is what works for me. I revised by doing this weird revision method after coming back from school. But like that's what made that's the mistake I made during my A-levels. I just listened to too many people. During your A-levels, literally write these 3 points down, which is revise for 2 hours consistently in the morning every single day before you go to school, meditate for 10 to 20 minutes every single day, and just pick 3 revision methods and just stick to them. If you just do these 3 things and nothing else, you'll make so much progress than doing anything else, basically. Because I obsessed over this studying space. I was spending so much time trying to grind for A-levels. I was spending hours just consuming study content. I was spending hours like watching JS Sparks videos. My entire FYP would be like studying content. I would try out these random revision techniques just to get beaten by people who just did the same thing consistently. Like, if you just follow this is the end. This is another rant I'm gonna go on. But literally, like, do these 3 things and you'll become better than most people in the country in any subject. That's a wild claim to make, but just try do this consistently and you basically become better than everyone. But like, when I see videos like this pop off, the reason this one won't get that many views is because people try to frame it as something really like complicated, or like the mistake they made was that they were bad at like this specific exam technique. When in reality, like, everything just boils down to these 3 things. When people come to me or like other people and they're like, I got a D in physics, but the reason I got a D in physics isn't because I didn't revise much, but it's actually because the exam technique for this one topic test is very hard. No, everything can just be boiled down to these 3 things. I guarantee you that if you're not getting an A star in a subject right now, it's because you're either not revising consistently, like you're not doing it consistently enough, you're not meditating, or you're not like you're doing too many things to revise. If you just do these 3 things, you will get an A star in the subject you want. It has taken me so many days, months of mistakes, like literally like maybe even years of just mistakes made just for me to realize this. And I really hope the best for you. Like, I really hope that this video can change your, like, the trajectory of your A-levels. If you just write these 3 things down, then just do these 3 things, you will become like, you'll be so much better than everyone else who's trying to find the best like revision resource or the best like AI or software app. If you just do these 3 things, you'll be better than most people in your A-levels. Apologies for like being really passionate about this. I'm not normally like this. I'm normally more like low-key and nonchalant, but this is something that I really feel passionately about. And yeah, man, like, I wish I'd just done these 3 things consistently and not listened to other people too much. And I also wish I kind of just enjoyed my A-levels way more. And just, yeah, like, I wish if I could have just woken up in the morning and just done 2 hours of deep work every day and just enjoyed my life for the rest of the day, it would have been so much better to look back on. But now I'm going to look back on A-levels as a time of like pain and grind and grunting through work, which you never want to, like, you never want to look back at your life and just think of pain. So I really hope you enjoy your A-levels. Like, with this information, you're going to be like that one weird student who just like, who somehow gets a good grades. So apologies for the ranting again. I hope you get all A stars in your A-levels. I'll keep you updated on my channel. If you want to hear more about productivity and fitness, subscribe to this channel. Also, going back to the first point, I'm actually thinking of setting up a community of where we have this like a group call where we all wake up at like 5 a.m. or something and then work together. So it's like a study with me on like a Zoom call or like Discord, where everyone just wakes up early and then works. I really want to make a community like that because nothing like this exists. No, there is no community I've ever seen where everyone wakes up really early and grinds for a bit. And it'll just be like, if I can set that up, if you're interested, shoot me a DM on my Instagram or on the comments of this YouTube, because I really respect that. If you're willing to join my community of people who just wake up really early and then grind work, basically. But that's in the future. I may put a link in the description if I create that later on. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel and share this to someone who is failing their A-levels or isn't getting A stars. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.